I am Rory Aherns. In coming of age class, we've spent the year thinking and talking about what is true for us now and what we believe is most important as we prepare for young adulthood in this faith. This morning, we will be sharing where we are in that process with you. My core beliefs center around rationalism, naturalism, and humanism. These are the processes by which I acquire beliefs and implement them in the world. Rationalism is, at its core, the process of updating your beliefs to match the world around you based on evidence. It is the effort to make your beliefs about the world match what the world is actually like. By observing the world and collecting information about it, and then incorporating these observations into your view of the world, you bring your ideas about the world closer to reality, and your ideas become more accurate. Naturalism is the belief that everything can be explained by natural rather than supernatural causes. When seeking to explain why something exists the way it does, naturalism explains it through natural causes rather than supernatural intervention. Naturalism stems from rationalism because the process of basing beliefs on evidence does not support supernatural explanations, as our observations are of the natural world, and such a supernatural influence could not manifest itself in our observations of the world. After all, if they were an observable part of the world, they would be natural rather than supernatural. I do not believe in any supernatural occurrences because I have not encountered evidence that suggests that they exist. Specifically, I believe that consciousness can be fully explained by the functions of the brain, and that there is no supernatural soul that gives us consciousness. What we experience as consciousness is the product of our neural functions, not some irreducible essence that gives us thought. I am agnostic, as given the lack of evidence of a God, there is no reason to believe that there is one. However, there is also no evidence that there is not a God. We really don't know one way or the other. Likewise, I do not believe in any afterlife. However, being a moral person is not tied to believing in a God. We can treat each other well without any higher power telling us to do so. We must give our own lives purpose, as there is no higher power doing so for us. We should make the best of our lives right here, as this is the only one we have. In the absence of supernatural aid, we should help each other as much as we can and make for ourselves the best world that we can. By helping each other, we make all our lives better, and everyone ends up better off. Thank you.
Some familiar faces out there, some not so familiar. I know the people behind me probably know me a little bit more than they'd want to, but hello. My name is Ashley Blum-Woodland. I have two last names because I have two wonderful fathers that gave me their last names. The hyphen in my last name represents their relationship, something that in this day and age, but also in the time when it wasn't acceptable for their relationship to be existent, I view as inspirational. I've never been very good at doing anything in front of a crowd except for making a fool of myself. The feeling of so many pairs of eyes is really scary. But, you know, coping with your feelings and your insecurities is all part of growing up, everyone seems to say, so let's give it a go. When we're younger, we're usually asked what we want to be when we grow up. But we're rarely asked who we want to be when we grow up. Regardless, our answers are typically nothing original, you know. I want to be a princess or a fireman or a police officer. Family's been extremely important to me, and I'm still growing up, though I'm reluctant to admit it, and I'm still figuring out who exactly I want to be. Nothing I tell you today will be original. Yes, these are my thoughts, and these are my self-definitions, but they've all been thought, written, and said by someone else before me. I'm not an original, and whether you wish to admit it, neither are you. Neither are any of us. This is a recent realization that happened in my life. It has happened to many before me and will happen to many after me as well, because, as I said, we're not original. To some, this world and this would become an existential crisis, but to me it was just another deep thought that made less sense when I thought about it more. And kind of made my head hurt a little bit. I believe that in some point in our lives and throughout our lives, we make many decisions that decide a majority of our future, which is a scary thought if you think about it. And we never truly know which decision that is, but that decision will inevitably be made and it may not be the final decision, but it will impact our lives for the distant futures. Reluctancy to find out who I am and defining who I am has been a common theme throughout my life. It seems as though I'm reluctant to do anything in fear of a displeasing outcome. However, this does not keep me from attempting bizarre activities such as snowboarding due to my almost dangerous amount of self-confidence. The thing is that all these bizarre activities and even not quite funny jokes that I make are just a facade and a way for me to deflect the question of who I want to be. So I play soccer and say I'm a soccer player and end the conversation, then do the same with dance, snowboarding, music, scientific activities. I've become so engulfed in labeling myself and attaching myself to things that I don't identify with, and I use these activities as a blockade for the idea of having any solid knowledge of who I am. Because any true and final label of Ashley Blum-Woodland is probably one of the scariest thoughts that I'm yet to think. Because once we make a decision of who we are, that becomes a part of who we are and how we live our every breathing moments. I'm completely terrified of someday knowing the truth of who I am, because whether or not I like the truth about me will not change the fact that that is the truth. The whole point of this credo is for us to decide the next path that we will direct our lives towards. And this just might be one of those decisions that changes my life for the future. I have had more access than the majority of people to different cultures and religions. And I'm still unable to truly make up my mind. Maybe, though, my mind not being made up is my indecision. I'm no particular religion, and I'm indecisive about all of them because I don't identify with any one in particular. I identify with the peace in Judaism, the belief of good works in Christianity, the belief in unity of Unitarianism. It's all a big part of who I am, and will continue to be a part of who I am for days to come. So if I were to tell you that I knew who I wanted to be, even now I wouldn't know a true label. I'm all religions and none at the same time. All I can say sincerely is that I value my family, I value my truths, and though I'm often lacking confidence in this area in particular, I value myself. I'm not only glad, but I'm also proud to say that my name is Ashley Helen Blum-Woodland. I am who I have made myself to be with the help of so many of you today. And for now, that's perfectly okay. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Trent Miller. I believe my role and purpose during this life is to not take it for granted. I believe for all of us as humans, our purpose is to create, explore, and expand for the better. The most fundamental thing for a growing child is education. With education, he or she will be able to work on problem-solving abilities that may help them later in their lives. For me, my guide and motivation in life is to keep striving no matter what. I believe myself to be a Unitarian and to follow what is expected from me in years to come. I understand that my viewpoints and ideas will change as I get older, although I feel that what is most important to me will stay embedded in me for the rest of my life. I believe the most important things to me are family, friends, education, health, and empathy. I feel without these basic human necessities, we will keep letting history repeat itself. It is almost as if humans have a function inside them for violence, which is why these great conflicts and warmongering politicians continuously show up in our society. We feel as if the only way to get something done is by force and destruction. What if this wasn't the case? What if there was some way to explore, create, and expand in a civilized way that did not end people's lives and destroy communities? Unfortunately, it seems we have not reached a conclusion, but if all these important ideals were a part of human nature, maybe we would not be so divided. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rose Klales. I believe in theater. I believe that the lights on the stage can set the tones of scenes, and I believe that people need to understand their characters in order to act as them. This is, of course, a metaphor. Stage lights are things that affect our lives, our friends, our loved ones, even our churches, and our own emotions. They can change the entire feeling of our parts of our lives, presenting harsh lighting that incites fear, or soft, gentle lighting, encouraging love and reassurance. I believe that when you become a character, you must understand everything about them, even the things you don't like. This applies to people in your life as well. Even when you don't like someone, you need to work to understand them. I also believe in the individuality of each person. Every person is important in their own way. Maybe their stage lights are a little brighter or present a different, more critical mood to things. Either way, they add to the group. When people begin to understand each other within a group, they begin to understand love, which is the defining attribute of my faith. While I believe strongly in the power of a script, I think writing this down will not define me for very long. What will define me is the support and experiences I had while writing it. Human beings are in a constant state of change, and who I am today is not who I was yesterday, or even who I was when I began writing this statement. But while I was writing this statement, I was supported by loved ones. These people and their love helped me to create this statement. They listened carefully and tried to understand my words. Because of their love, I was able to express myself fully, and that will shape me as I grow and change throughout my life. Love is a defining attribute not only of my own personal beliefs, but also the Unitarian Universalist faith. In my opinion, love should not be reserved for certain people. Perhaps one can love people differently, but love should be given to everyone. Because once you love someone, don't you feel more compelled to understand them? Once you feel compelled to understand others, you can begin to build bridges with them. After those bridges are built, you can begin to see the value of each person. Understanding individuals through the eyes of love allows us to accept them, regardless of if they change or if they have differences. Thus, I believe love is very important. So, here I stand before you, a girl who believes in love and theater and all of you. Thank you very much for your time.
Hello, I'm Ben Smith. Acceptance. Acceptance of one another is the beginning of our third principle. We use this word very often to describe who we are, and I find this word to be one of the centers of my beliefs. How can we learn if we are not accepting of other people's ideas? As we do a very good job of acceptance, and that is one of the reasons I love this community. We are involved in social justice, we are non-discriminatory, and we let anyone who wants to show up in. However, in our quest for acceptance, sometimes we can get stuck. I think we can all agree that some people are less accepting than others. They could be racist, homophobic, or intolerant of other people's religious beliefs. We need to accept these people and listen, as the hard part of acceptance is listening to all people. We may disagree with their ideas, but we can still preach our principles of religious tolerance, kindness to the earth, and acceptance. Now back to me. I'm using acceptance as one of my beliefs because my other beliefs are still not set in stone. I believe that being a compassionate person can only bring back good, and that whatever purpose life may have, what God is going to send a kind and generous person to hell. As far as what my life may look like in the future, I don't know yet, but hopefully I'll know soon. What I do know is that through the hard work of acceptance, I'll be able to make the right decisions. Thank you.